to the final call area. All other divers and coaches, please clear the pool deck, ready for competition. Divers in the girls' B 3 meter springboard preliminary, please take your accreditation with you to the warm-up out to the final call area. All other divers and coaches, please clear the pool deck immediately. Boards are closed. Warm-up is over. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the World Aquatic Junior Diving Championships in Rijeka 2026. This is day 6 out of 7. We have the girls' B 3-meter springboard preliminary. There are 32 divers in total for this event. And there'll be 8 rounds of dives, consisting of 5 rounds of requireds and 3 rounds of optionals. There are 7 judges marking the score out of 10. The 2 lowest scores and the 2 highest scores will be removed, and the scores left will be added together and times by the degree of difficulty. That's all the admin for this morning.
And please put your hands together for your panel A judges.
When watching diving, you don't really need to worry about that sort of stuff. You can just sit back and try and enjoy these incredible divers competing in their first ever World Junior Aquatic Diving Championships. Here we have our first diver of the event. I see from Egypt. It's always a bit nerve-wracking being the first diver of the event, first diver of the whole day. I think what's more scary is first dive of the whole competition on day 1, but that was a long time ago. My name's Matty Lee, a former British diver and Olympic champion in 2021, alongside Tom Daly in the 10-meter platform synchronized event. I also used to compete in these championships when I was younger, when I was a junior. Some very fond memories from my career. Especially, Group B, like these girls. This is their first time at the World Junior Diving Championships. They're only every 2 years. And all of a sudden you've got divers from all around the world. So many new friends to be made. Obviously they're here to dive and do a job, but at the same time, it's life. And that's one of the greatest strengths of diving is the community. It is really one big family. I've been retired now for 3 years, and look, I'm back. Not sure I'll be able to keep my job though as a commentator, because it's definitely, I have the utmost respect for the commentators, especially Leon Taylor. He's a British commentator. Solid start there for Mila. Usually commentators usually they're in pairs. But I've been trying my hardest to using my contacts and getting my friends to come and join me in the booth. Tomorrow morning we should have AD Hinchcliffe join me in the booth. AD is a bit of a legend of a coach and a great storyteller. Well executed dive for Ludmila.
6.5, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 6.5.
6.5 from the judges.
Daria Polyakova, forward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
The young Ukrainian. Really clean on that finish going through the water.
5.5, 6, 6, 6, 5.5, 6, 5.5.
That's called the rip entry.
It's
probably what divers work on the most in their career. Some divers just have it though. You're kind of like born with it. The ability to rip through the water. But the divers have to really work hard to try and develop their skills and strength. It's been an extremely busy week for Mia. I've seen it on all boards. And there she is showing us that she wants to get in the final.
7.5, 6, 7, 6.5.
The top 12 will make it through to the final
Forward 1.5 somersaults.
after the 8 rounds of dives. And I mentioned the first 5 rounds are required easier dives. And the overall score gets carried over to the final if you make it. Angelia with a 23.20 score. She'll want to try and get a better score next time. Really solid through the water. Beautiful form throughout her dive.
6-6-6-7-6-6-6. Franziska Vogt.
We're going to see a lot of the same dives in this competition. It kind of shows that that's where most of the divers feel most comfortable competing their dives. They get to choose the order of their dives and also what dives they do. It's a great start. 7s from the judges. Really great use of the springboard there for Leila, representing Egypt. The springboard is your best friend. If you treat it well, it will treat you well. We don't want to become enemies with the springboard. It'll make your life a lot harder. Slightly missed her entry. 5.5s from the judges. She'll be aiming for 6s, 7s maybe, going forward after that first round dive. Solid connection for her hands on the water, really hearing the rip entry. 6s from the judges. Manuela. We saw her on the platform synchro event. It's quite common, less common nowadays, but it's normally at this level you kind of want to be special. You know, you don't want to be a specialized diver just yet. There's still so much to learn and gain from each board. When I was in Group B, I did platform, 3-meter springboard, 1-meter springboard. In both years, B1 and B2. It was when I transitioned to A, is when I kind of started to specialize in platform. You might have thought you've seen this diver already, but nope. This is the twin sister of Mia. This is Leah Cueva-Lobato. Again, it's been a very busy week for her. I would argue that the junior competitions are almost like they're harder than the senior competitions, not in terms of like standard. Of course, when you get into the senior ranks, your competitors start to get really, really good. And you know the dives are harder. You hear a lot more 9s. People are more mature, more experienced. But these competitions are really long. Like we're on day 6 out of 7. Early starts for these divers in the morning, especially when they have a prelim. They might have 3, 4, some of them 5 events. But as you get to the senior, you don't normally have that many events. It's not common, but it has happened. Chiara Pellicani, Italian diver. She won 5 gold medals at this year's Senior European Championships, competing in the 1 meter individual, 3 meter individual, 3 meter synchro, 3 meter mixed synchro, and team event. Really enjoyed Emma's technique.
6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 7, 6, 7, 6.5.
6.5 from the judges.
Amanda Brightsmith, forward
Steady start.
1.5 somersaults, punt.
Amanda Brightsmith there representing Peru. Really nice dive. It's a great start.
6, 6.5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Lucia Susovic, inward 1.5 somersaults, punt.
We have Lucija representing Croatia. Really well executed dive. I can talk on experience
6, 6,
competing in a
6.5, 6,
event at home.
6.
You know, home nation event, home crowd, huge advantage over the rest of the field. You know, you didn't have to fly across the world to get here. Might have only driven 20 minutes or a few hours. That's one thing as well, jet lag. I remember when I first went to my first Junior World Championships in 2012 in Adelaide. And that's obviously, you know, that's the furthest you can really travel, isn't it, to Australia, the other side of the world, especially when you're from Europe, England. And my jet lag was awful. And I was a young boy. I remember feeling very homesick. And I remember, like, I would feel delusional. And believe it or not, we were traveling for like more than 24 hours to get to Australia. And when we arrived, we went to training. And I look back at that now as an adult. And I think that was reckless. Because diving is dangerous. And I remember I was on the plane. And I think I was like kind of sleeping, but not sleeping. And I obviously had my team all around me. And apparently I had my eyes open. And I remember this. But I was definitely like asleep. And I was like having a diving nightmare where I was like, they're gonna beat us. They're too good. And I was on about the Japanese divers. Safe to say, I didn't let that live me. My teammates didn't let me live that down. That was also my first event where I was on the same team as people like Tom Daly, Jack Law, Alicia Blagg.
5.5, 6, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6.
And I just remember thinking, wow, I've made it. Little did I know, years later I would win a gold medal alongside Tom. Some of these divers might look up to some inspirational divers in their team, these juniors. Little do they know that maybe in the future they'll be diving alongside them at the Olympics. You know, Francesca.
5, 5.5, 5, 6.5, 5.5.
27.20.
Margarita Kuvshinova, inward 1.5 somersaults, punt.
Just watch the Russian diver, Margarita. Inward 1.5 somersaults pike.
7, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 6.5. Emily Collins, forward 1.5 somersaults pike.
Emily Collins from Australia. It's funny to see most of the Australian staff are all British. They all started their careers in coaching and diving in England. And it's one of the beautiful things about diving. A lot of people travel around the world and move jobs to different nations. I had a Chinese coach for quite a good few years of my career. I was very fortunate. He had so much wisdom. Peng Li. He's the most humble coach ever, but I think probably one of the world's best coach. Very unique style of coaching. We'll keep it very simple. Sometimes I see coaches over-explaining to their divers, and especially at this level, a junior, they're not gonna know they're not gonna remember everything you say. I think it's important to pick out those important points of the dive, keep it simple. But that's my opinion, and I'm not a coach. I have got my level 1 coaching degree though. I literally just got it, and I want to help coach at Leeds Diving Club, where I'm from. Ella from America. Superb takeoff. Clean finish. Hearing some 7s from the judges. Alexandra has a great entry on the water. She's competed on all boards, 1 meter and tower. Now competing on the 3 meter. You can see Ekaterina there smirking at the announcer's attempt at her surname. Shmileva. That's my attempt. Katarina Shmileva. I'm probably wrong there. 6.5 to count. The announcer of this event is Jill. Jill's from the UK, and she's quite a legendary voice in diving. She announces at the Olympics. She's announced at London 2012. I remember watching as a kid. She also announced the Tokyo Olympics.
7.5, 7.5, 7, 7, 7.5, 7, 7.5. Jamila Eakin.
Very experienced announcer indeed. Here we have Jamila Eakin in Great Britain. She trains in Edinburgh, coached by Adam Smallwood. Solid dive for Jamila. Her coach Adam is a diver at Leeds Diving. Started his coaching career at Leeds. And recently moved to Edinburgh to take over that program. Talking to him the other day. He was coaching the likes of Jack Law and Anthony Harding for that medal in Paris, and now he's wanting to. It's a big difference coaching like the senior level of diving at the Olympics to then coaching juniors, but it's important because without building a good foundation
Our first round of dives. Let's have a quick look
of the
at
club.
score.
That's how you're going to get a great program running in. And when you invest into the juniors and into the foundations of a club, you're not going to see results straight away. You're in it for the long run. It's an investment, and hopefully it pays off in a good few years. That's the end of round one. Probably not going to see too big a gaps in between divers in the early stages. But as we get closer towards the end, gaps will form. The top 12 may become obvious, but it's always a bit of a battle all the way to the last diver to make it to that top 12 to progress to the final. Four and a halves from the judges. Mila Klein, Australia, inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Solid inward 1.5 pike. Great takeoff.
6.5, 7.5, 7, 7, 6, 7, 7. Alina Polonets, inward 1.5 somersaults pike.
Alina, same dive. Definitely going to see a few of these this round. Really confident on the finish.
7, 7.5, 7.5.
44.
6.5 for 7, 7.
Sevens from the judges, very good.
Inward 1.5 somersaults pike.
These girls are ages range from 13 to 15 years of age. Ludmila's 14. That indicates that she's in first year B. There's a big difference between first B and second B. As the championships are every 2 years.
4.5, 6, 5, 6, 6.
Depends when you're born.
Inward 1.5 somersaults.
Obviously, if you're an extra year older than the field, and that's an extra year of maturity, potentially an extra year of knowledge on diving. And then when they reach the age of 16, they'll be in Group A. And there's 3 years in Group A. First A, second A, third A, ranging all the way up to 18 years of age. Mia's been diving since she was 7 years old. It's quite a common age for diving to start. That's the age I was when I started. The competitor who started diving the youngest is the Canadian diver Sarah. She started when she was 3 years old. That's crazy.
7, 8, 7, 6.5, 7, 7. Angelia Lau, back dive pike.
But also it ranges all the way to Margarita, the Russian diver. She started diving when she was 15. Wait, no. No, that can't be true. She is 15. Maybe she didn't understand my question. I filled out a questionnaire to centre all the divers, give us a little bit more information about them, so I could speak about them,
5.5, 6,
build a bit of a
5.5,
profile for you guys at home.
6, 5.5.
She definitely didn't start when she was 15.
Catch. Forward 1.5 somersaults.
Patricia from Poland. My second junior European Championships was in Poznan. In 2013.
6, 5.5, 6.5, 6, 6, 6.
She wasn't, oh no, she was 2 years old when I competed in that championship. That's crazy. I was going to say, I wonder if she remembers maybe watching that, but definitely not. Franziska. Franziska started when she was 7. She was in the swimming pool with her family and saw the divers, and that definitely took her an interest, and that's how she started. So she went to the coach and asked whether she could try it. Could you imagine a diving pool that overlooks the pyramids in Egypt? That would be my dream. I'm really obsessed with Egyptology and the history of the pharaohs, and the pyramids. I find it all very fascinating. Just need some billionaire to try and interested in diving that will build a pool there. Doubt that'll ever happen. This pool here in Rijeka, Kantrida diving pool, has definitely got one of the most beautiful backgrounds, overlooking the Adriatic Sea. Mountain range behind. I think most of it's Croatia, but I think at the very end is verges onto Italy.
Six, 5.5, 5.5.
31.35 there for Angel. Manuela started diving when she was 9. She looks up to 2 great Brazilian divers, Isaac Suso and Ingrid Oliveira. 2 divers I'm very familiar with throughout my career. Diving against Isaac for a lot of it. Very strong diver. Huge, great power as well from the Brazilians. They're always very strong. When you watch diving, you might just think, oh, these divers just train and train and train in the water. But that's not correct. Probably about 50% of the training is done in the gym, ranging from all sorts to gymnastics, aerobatic training, strength and conditioning, and then just regular conditioning. Lots of core work needed. You need a really strong core in diving. If you're a springboard diver, you need stronger legs. If you're a platform diver, you also need strong legs, but in a different way. Springboard, you need to be able to absorb the board and generate power. But on platform, it's more about, it's more explosive because it's a solid platform, it doesn't move. So you've got to generate the height from your body.
7, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6, 6, 6.5. Luciana Pinedo. Inward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
Luciano with an inward 1.5 somersaults pike, opting for the open pike position. That's where the diver doesn't wrap into her pike shape with her arms. She just keeps them out in a T shape. Really positive takeoff from Emma. Clean finish through the water. 7s from the judges.
7, 7.5. Amanda Brightsmith. Inward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
Amanda Brightsmith, representing Peru. I believe she trains in America, but I could be very wrong. Not all the divers filled out my form.
Five and a half, 6.5, 6, 7, 6, 6, 6. Lucia Susovic. Back dive pat.
Lucija with that home advantage back dive pike.
Six, 5.5, 6, 5.5.
32.40 for the Croatian.
Forward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
Namaro from the Netherlands. I believe Namara actually trains in Neptune Aachen diving club in Germany. We have Lutza, representing Hungary. She trains in Budapest. Budapest has an amazing pool in the Duna Arena. Very lucky enough to have competed there a few times. No, it wasn't my first World Championships, but it was the first time I made a final at a World Championships, an individual on the platform, in 2017. Same competition where Tom Daly took the crown to become world champion. Cassandra getting 6s from the judges. Francesca. She trains in Milano. Started diving when she was 5 years old. She started because her sister did it when she was little. And her inspiration is her sister as well.
6, 6, 6, 6, 5.5, 6, 6. Margarita Kuchinova, forward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
Margarita's inspiration in diving is Dmitry Sautin. We mentioned him yesterday. He's the father of Ivan Sautin, who is competing in these championships. He is a legend of the sport. Multiple Olympic medals, including gold. A few of them indeed. I remember watching endless videos on YouTube when I was younger. I was such a geek about diving in my early years. I guess that's a good thing. Oh, very precise dive there from Emily. Emily's coached by Vaninka.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5.
Vaninka actually did, you see there, that's Vaninka. She did a coach swap with my coach, Jenny Leeming, who's also here with the Great British team. Jenny went over to Australia to take her squad for 3 months, and Vaninka came to Leeds and coached me and the rest of my teammates. Maya with 6s from the judges. Ella there getting a good cheer from the crowd. Solid dive. Ella trains at Arrow Dive Club. Started diving when she was 9. She did gymnastics, but once COVID hit, Ella's mum introduced her to diving. It's very common for divers to have had a gymnastic background before choosing to go full time. Oh, it's a beautiful entry by Alessandra. She's like a magician on that water, disappearing, the Houdini effect.
6.5, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 6, 6.5. Ekaterina Shmilova, inward 1.5 somersaults, pat.
Katarina started diving when she was 4 years old. Her inspiration is Madison Keeney, an incredibly strong, great springboard diver from Australia. She also looks up to different Chinese athletes.
7.5, 7, 7.5, 7.
The Chinese have kind of dominated diving since, well, they've dominated diving for a long time. They won all the gold medals in the Paris Olympics. Me and Tom managed to stop them getting this clean sweep in Tokyo. Jack Law and Chris Mears also stopping them getting a clean sweep in Rio. Jamila for back dive pike. Jamila started diving when she was 8 years old. It was a little bit of a quick back dive pike there for Jamila. You can see she's trying to put the brakes on in the air. It's difficult to do.
5.5, 5, 6, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.
Jamila's inspiration is Usain Bolt. I don't really need to say much about him. We all know he's a legend of sport and a legend of the Olympics, really. Final diver of round 2. After each dive, the divers have a good 20-minute wait in between rounds. Gives them just enough time to kind of switch off a little bit, go have a sit down, a lie down, listen to a bit of music maybe. Divers all choose different ways of managing their nerves throughout these long competitions. It took a long time for me to understand what was best for me during a long prelim. I always much prefer the final because there's almost not enough time to switch off. You kind of have to stay focused the whole time, and I always preferred that. But to get to the final, you need to get through to the prelim with consistency. Remember, the top 12 will make it through to the final. And these required rounds, first 5 rounds of dives, will be carried over to the final. We're just changing from panel A to panel B judges to keep their minds fresh throughout this long competition. Now the judges are all taking their seats, and we're ready to start round 3. Asa getting good balance from the board, just a little bit splash. He was a coach at Leeds Diving when I started. He's a great coach, coached many great divers throughout his time. He was also an incredible athlete as well.
6, 7, 6.5, 7, 7, 6.5, and 7. Alina Miller, back dive pike.
Beautiful back dive pike, reaching to the top of her toes in the pike shape. Clean finish. Ludmila there, 26.10 score. area. Quite a big miss for Daria. She'll definitely want to put that one behind her. Got a long wait to the next round to try and progress up the ranks. She wants to make it through to the final. Definitely make it hard work. Mia with a reverse dive pike. As I mentioned, Mia has competed already in the 1 meter, the 3 meter synchro, the platform event, the mixed team event. Oof. It's a long campaign for some of these athletes. Angelila presenting Singapore. Nice line on her come out. 28.50. Patricia. Move forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. In the required rounds, the divers are all required to compete all directions on the 3 meter, forward, back, inward, reverse, and a twisting dive. Really well executed. 6.5 from the judges. We have Layla with a reverse dive pike. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to judge this dive as if I'm a judge, and we'll see if I'm anywhere close to the judges. I'd give that maybe a 5.5. Let's see if I'm anywhere close. 5.5. Yes. Judge 1, give it a 5.5 straight away. Sign me up, judges. I'm ready. Jokes, I would not want that responsibility. Much prefer just being a viewer. A fan of diving. Howdy, Anna. I'd give that 6. I think.
5.5, 6.
Yay! Judge 2. A few 6s. Ha! 6s to count. I don't need no judging course. The knowledge is in my head. Nice finish on the water. Angel.
7, 6, 6.5, 6, 6, 6.5, and 6.
interesting thing about the judges that in a final, you're not allowed to have, for example, Brazil. If Brazil make it to the final, there's not allowed to be a Brazilian judge. So, if you're from a nation that do really well in diving, you're not going to be judging many finals. Great balance from the board. You don't want to be jumping too far away. Also, you don't want to be too close. Beautiful dive from Leah. I'd give that 7. 39.90. 7's to count. I'm good at this. I think I might be better at judging than I am commentating. Never say never. Sarah trains in Montreal Diving Institute, coached by Aaron. Coach there with a lot of knowledge. Coached many great athletes from Canada. Some nations have like a high performance center where all of the national team train. Definitely has some pros and cons. The pros definitely being, if you surround yourself with all the great divers of your nation, so it's a breeding ground for success. But then also, I think the important thing of having divers train all around the country is that then they'll also, help the younger generation from those clubs. Some divers, could be really young at this age, and in their squad there could be, some Olympians. And, they'll definitely look up to them. I did, I had endless amount of Olympians to look up to at lead diving. Amanda Bright-Smith waiting for the referee's whistle. And there we have it. I think we have a dog making a bit of noise. It's not common to have a dog in the stands. Diving competition. It's one of the many variables of an outdoor pool. Can't really control the surroundings. A few days ago I thought someone was whistling throughout someone's dive, but no, it turned out to be a bird. Procedure. A little bit tight towards the board. Seeing her shoulder move back on the reverse takeoff. Amara started diving when she was 6 years old. It was her brother and his friends who did diving first. She went to watch a training session and she thought, I need to try this out. Very similar to myself. My older brother, Tom Lee, dived. I would watch him train after my swimming lessons, and it's quite common to follow your older siblings' footsteps. They're probably the ones that inspired us at first in everything. Lutza from Hungary. She started diving when she was 7. Her mum used to be a diver. Huge jump out of the board, really using the springboard to her advantage. For this next dive, you all listening at home, you can try and be a judge. Remember, score it out of 10 for the overall impression. Obviously I can't hear you, so I don't know if you got it right or wrong. I'll give it a go too. It's a good dive. I think I'd give that 6. 5.5 and 6s from the judges. Well done if you got that right. Better luck next time if you didn't. We have Francesca. Forward 1, have some salts, 1 twist. It's a great dive from the Italian. 6.5s. I have 20 years of diving experience under my belt, so you'd think I should know what a judge would score a dive. You see the divers with lots of different styles of technique. You see Marguerite there starting her arm swing up with her arms above. It's a very unique diving style. Definitely seen that used throughout the Russian program. Emily Collins. Beautiful dive from Emily. She enjoys going to the beach in her spare time. I think if I lived in Australia, that would also be what I would do. Can't really do that in England, sadly. We do have beaches, but it's raining most of the time. We have Maya from Canada with a back dive pike. Maya trains at Vancouver Diving Club. We have Ella go. Oh, beautiful hands on the finish of the dive. Great height of the board.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5.
I was about to say that's a 7.5. And look, all judges scoring it the same. Good work, judges. Alexandra Puz. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. A great finish on the wall, just slightly short. She's got great technique. Katarina. Oh, beautiful. Really well executed. Katarina started diving when she was 4 years old. Greatest achievement so far is a 3rd place finish, a bronze medal at the European Junior Championships earlier this year. Great dive there from the Chinese girl. You might be thinking, Matty, you know, you just said the Chinese are so dominant, normally winning all events, especially at the Olympics. And they've obviously not won every gold medal here at all, but it's because they've definitely not sent their A team. I don't even think they've sent their B team. Don't be fooled. Jamila. A reverse dive pike. Solid hurdle. Lovely leg line.
6.5, 7, 7, 6, 6.5, 6, and 6.5. Amanda Lang, reverse dive pike.
Final diver of this round, Amanda Wang from Hong Kong. Solid finish for round 3. Clean entry.
5.5, 6, 5.5, 5, and 5. We're done with the third round, so we're going to take a look at the current standings.
Let's have a look at the standings thus far. Ella Go in the lead with 118.20. Katarina very closely behind. It's all very bunched up still. Top 12 will make it through to the final. Rijeka currently in that 12th spot after 3 rounds of dives. Just very close behind. It's too early to confidently say anything. Definitely see a lot of movement up and down the scoreboard. Some divers' strengths are their required dives, but some divers' strengths are the optional rounds. So some divers definitely relying on the harder dives, the last 3 rounds. He's with a back, well now some sorts of half twist. We call that a back half in diving. Lovely takeoff. A little bit splashy on the entry. That's 4s. Oh, sorry. That's why I'm not a judge. Myla Klein, reverse dive pike. Myla trains in Queensland, Academy of Sport. Solid, really beautiful dive from Myla. She started diving when she was 8. They came to her school for a trial and she got selected. be from Edwin and AD. They did that in Great Britain. It was called a TID, talent identification. We'll go to schools around the area of the pool and run a little session with the kids in primary school. They'll like measure their height, their arm span, see if their hand-eye coordination's there, measure their long jump. And it definitely, there's been some great divers that have come through the TID, but it's, not essential. Some divers, when they start just off their own back, must have more of a drive. That was the case for myself. I didn't show great progression in my earlier years. I think I defined all odds. Many people probably didn't think I was going to achieve what I achieved in my career, and that's important sometimes to invest into everyone and give everyone an equal opportunity in diving. I also think the most important thing is to make sure the divers are having fun. Because when you're having fun, you're more likely to listen, you're more likely to enjoy training. It becomes very repetitive. I was training 6 days a week after school, sometimes before school. I would train on a Friday morning before school. I used to hate it. We'd train 6 till 8. I would miss the first half of the training session because I was on the toilet. Probably just because I didn't want to train. Me there with an in with 1/2 somersault spike. After those early mornings, I would go to school, not listen to a single thing any of my teachers said because I was half asleep. My mum would even buy me a kind of Monster Energy, which was definitely against what my family stood for. We didn't really have fizzy pop in the house, but it was needed. Then after school I'd go straight back to training. And I know I'd definitely sleep well that night. .33.60 there for Angelia. Patricia with 6s from the judges. Francesca. It's a solid hurdle. Hurdles are the hardest thing about competing, really, especially on the springboard. It sets the dive up. If you land on the very edge or over or really back from the end of the board, it makes the dive very hard and difficult to execute. Divers will spend their whole career perfecting that hurdle. We definitely see mistakes at the highest level in the senior categories. It's a beautiful entry for Lila, but you see she flexes her toes on that pike shape there, boom. Judges are going to really pick up on that, take a few points off. Anna with a reverse dive pike. 5.5 from the judges. You see Angel there with her foot moving the fulcrum. That's a wheel on the board. It kind of determines how tight or how springy the board is. Really great technique on the takeoff. 43 points, a solid score for her round 4 dive. Manuela. Back dive pike. Oh, beautiful on the entry. Great hands on the water. 7, 6.5 from the judges. See, there's a hot tub underneath the 3-meter boards. Not being used as much as we usually see in diving, because it's so hot out there, especially when the sun's beaming and there's no wind, like now. Nice dive from Leah. Beautiful leg line throughout. That'd be 8s if the entry was cleaner. Sarah. Sarah's inspiration is her brother, Benjamin Tessier, Andrea Spandolini-Siriax, another British diver, teammate of mine, and Kwan Hong Chan. We see Luciana there. She lands very tiptoes over the end of the board, and she had to kind of hold on to that pike shape a little bit longer than she would like to make it round vertically. Emma, go. There's so many twins and sisters in this Junior World Championships. It's really impressive. I don't remember so many in my day. It's obviously been a thing. It does run in families. Definitely easy for the parents to take their children to the same place, the same venue at the same time. But a bit of a nightmare if they're doing if they're training at different times. Amanda Bright-Smith. It's a solid effort from Amanda. You see there, landing very much on the right-hand side of that board. Her pinky toe wrapping over the board.
4.5, 3.5, 3.5, 4, 4, 4.5, and 4.5. Lucia Susers forward, 1.5 somersaults spiked.
Lucia. Forward 1.5 somersaults pike. Great entry for Lucia. Seeing the hurdle, look at that big hop and then almost loses the height. I think it's important to, obviously you want to be jumping at the highest, the highest point you want to be jumping is on the takeoff, not into the hop of the board. It's a bit counterproductive. Namaro Gracier. solid dive. She likes to shop in her free time, shopping a lot, she said. She enjoys cooking with her family. She loves Asian food, like Thai food. Favorite is pad Thai. I'm a massive fan of Asian food. I've been very lucky to, go to places like Japan, China, with diving and getting to experience the cuisine around the world. I definitely have my favorites, and I definitely have my least favorite nations of cuisine. But also, it's not fair to have my opinion on the cuisine of nations because, like here, for example, I'm sure you go to a nice restaurant or you get a home-cooked meal from a local Croatian, it'll be really tasty, but, there's 300 athletes all being fed at the same place, in the same cafeteria. It's a bit like high school food. And sometimes, depending on where we are, where we competed in the world, like sometimes we'd stay in some beautiful hotels. For example, when we would compete in Beijing, we'd stay at the Shangri-La, 5-star hotel. But then, I've competed in Moscow where we stayed in a Holiday Inn. Francesca, solid back dive pike. Slightly pulled on the entry. I would probably say my favourite place diving has taken me is Japan. I've been lucky enough to have competed in Tokyo 2 times. One time being the World Cup, the year of the Olympics, and obviously the Olympic Games itself. But that was sadly during COVID, so I didn't really get to experience Tokyo as a normal person. But I've been to places like Sagamihara, Fuji City. I just really enjoyed the culture in Japan. It's very clean. Hygiene is important over there. Could probably eat off the ground. Emily Collins, reverse dive pike. Great leg line throughout. 6s from the judges. Maya Jane with a reverse dive pike. Oof. It's a bit of a miss. Not the best hurdle. Not much height. Difficult to control the dive. Competing is, you can get very shaky. It's the last thing you want, especially on the hurdle step. We have Ella. Look at the height out of that springboard. Great jump. Definitely get a few extra points just for the height itself. Oh, excellently executed dive from Alexandra. Great form, precise, and just a Houdini on the entry. Beautiful. Nutrition is so important in diving. Well, just in general anyway, for any human being, let's be honest. if you're, a bit of a picky eater like I am, or definitely was when I was younger, you go around the world eating different foods. Gotta try and make sure you get vegetables in. There's not a lot of vegetables available here in where we eat, where the divers are eating. It's one of the many challenges. A lot of divers bring their own foods. I think, at this age, it's probably more of an impact from your parents telling you what you should take. As you get older, more mature, you make those decisions for yourself. When we'd go and compete in Russia, half of my suitcase was food. The other half was clothes, of course, and a lot of Speedos. Jamila with an inward 1.5 somersault spike. Amanda Wang, the final diver of this round. It's a good takeoff. Scoring 5.5, 5.5, 6 from the judges. Let's have a look at the results after round 4. One more dive left for the required rounds. Top 12 will make it through to the final. And just remember that the required scores will carry over to the final. Margarita in the 12th position. It's all very tight. With Franziska from Hungary closely following. And Lutza as well from Hungary. Very closely behind Franziska, her teammate. From 12th to the first position, there's only 16 points as we move on into the optional rounds after this round. We should see some gaps being created. When the dives are harder, there's, of course there's more room for mistake, but also when the dives executed well, we will definitely see higher marks from the judges and a higher overall total of the score. He's starting us off in round 5 with an inward 1.5 somersault spike. 5.5 from the judges. 35.70. 147.35 for her required rounds. We have Myla Klein with a forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Probably see a bit more of the divers using the twisty dive in this round, but not everyone. It's a beautiful finish. As you see, toes over on the end of the board, but when the cards are dealt, you've just got to find a way to make the best use of what you've done. Alina, same dive, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Much better hurdle we're seeing from Alina, and a great entry through the water. Houdini disappearing. It's a really solid required score there, 180.70 after 5 rounds. Wonder if we'll see anyone going over the 200 mark. If so, that is a very impressive score. Ludmila there with a powerful jump from the board, almost reaching that 5 meter mark. 6.5 from all the judges.
Daria Polyakova, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist to free position.
We have Daria representing Ukraine, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Beautiful technique. Ever so slightly short on the entry, but hey, no dramas. 6.5. Almost from all the judges there. Mia Cueva-Lobato. I feel like I've said her name the most, her and her sister's name the most this week. It's because they've competed in almost every event possible. After so many competitions, Mia's still showing absolute determination to make it through to the final. 202.45, that's an incredible score for requireds. Definitely going to give her a upper hand if she makes it through to the final. Angelia representing Singapore. The last time I saw my Chinese coach, Peng Li, he was the head coach in Singapore. I believe he's now coaching in Beijing at the Water Cube. If you watched the 2008 Olympics, you'll know that iconic stadium. Patricia with a reverse dive pike. Patricia just slightly moving out away from the board there. 5.5, 4.5 from the judges, ending on 160. Francisca, forward 1.5 somersaults with 1 twist. Really well executed. Nice twist. Going through the water. 6s from the judges. 179, that's a solid score. We have Lila with an inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Look at how tight she squeezed her pike shape. No gap in between her chest and knees. That's what we're looking for. That's definitely what the judges are looking for. Shows great flexibility. Mariana from Colombia, back half. Scoring 5.5s from the judges.
5.5,
33 points.
Angel 1.
Puts her into rank 10 so far.
Somersaults, 1 twist, free position.
Angela 1, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Really well executed. Showing control. Nice technique. Clean through the water.
6, 5.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 5.5. Manuela Broom. Back 1.5 somersaults, say half twist, free position.
The prelims are so long, it's more of a marathon, these sort of events. You don't really want to be, you don't want a really good dive and a really bad dive. You kind of just want to have an averagely good set of dives to just increase your chances to make it through to the top 12, and then when the final comes around, then that's when you can really go for it. That's a really beautiful dive there from Manuela. Great use of a pike save on the water. Pike save is where, on a forward entry dive, you might feel like you're going slightly over a vertical. So with the rotation of the somersault, when you're smiling at us, well, at our family watching back at home, our family and friends, as I was saying, when you're going through the water, you use the rotation of the somersault. And as your hips kind of go through the water, you then kind of hinge at the hips. It's an illusion, keeping the legs upright, and then you suck in the water for that rip entry. Leah with a forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. It's a fabulous dive from Leah. So strong. Already just showing great consistency already at this age. It's got to be 7.5s. 7s. From the judges, maybe. On the Springboard event, the judges are always definitely looking at how high the diver can jump. It's one of the main attributes of Springboard, isn't it? Otherwise, they would just do it off the 3-meter platform, Diver's got to show control and strength, especially on the hurdle step. Just a little pause here. Just maybe a few technical issues with technology. Sometimes technology fails us, and we use the old school methods, which they absolutely have. You see the judges there getting their scorecards out. I'm seeing a 7.5, 7.5, 7.5 from the far 3 judges. Points, a great score there for Leah. Ending on 206. It's a solid score that puts her ahead of her twin sister Mia by 3.80 points. Sarah Jade. Tessia. Inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Lovely takeoff, great through the air. And a nice clean finish. 188, another solid score. Puts her in the bronze position, 3rd place. Obviously this is a prelim, so there'll be no medals at the end of this competition. They'll be decided after the final later on this afternoon. Luciana, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Nice solid entry. 6 and 6.5s from the judges.
Emma Goa. Back 1.5 somersaults, say half twist, free position.
You have Emma. forming a back half. Great balance towards the board. Nice clean finish. 40 points. Ending on 188. Just going ahead of Sarah Tessier. The margins can be so fine in diving. Amanda Brightsmith. Oy. You see there her feet were on the very end of the board and she couldn't quite hold on. You see them kind of slip off a little bit, which cancels out the jump. She does a great job getting that round, completing the dive.
3.5, 3, 2.5, 3, 4, 3, 3. Lucia Susovic. Back 1.5 somersault, same half twist, free position.
Lucia, with back, 1.5 somersaults, half twist. Solid dive from the Croatian. Nice work in the air. 6, 6, 6.5 from the judges. Nimaro. With a single twister, forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Really great takeoff. Good twisting position.
6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6, 5.5.
6, 6.5 from the judges. We have Lutza from Hungary. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Really beautiful dive from Lutza. Nice clean entry, forming that pike save on the water.
6, 7, 6, 6.5, 6, 6.5. Cassandra Gleischer. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position.
Cassandra from Austria. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Really solid dive from Cassandra. She started diving when she was 5 years old. Her auntie knew the coach, and her coach also inspires her. The relationship athletes have with their coach is really important. You know, you normally end up seeing your coach more than you do your own mother and your own family. Especially at this young age, it probably can be quite difficult coaching younger athletes. I definitely knew I was a nightmare to coach around this age. Just very hormonal. Always many mood swings. You know, 1 second I was happy and giddy and excited, and 1 second I was crying on the end of the board.
6, 6.5, 7.
Francesca.
6.5, 6.5.
6, 6.5 from the judges.
Reverse 1.5 somersault, same half twist, free position.
Margarita with the reverse 1.5 somersaults, half twist. I love watching this dive. It has great potential. Beautiful technique on the twist. Really enjoyed watching that. It'll be 6s.
6.5, 5.5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.5.
Another good guess from myself. Emily Collins. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Beautiful dive from Emily, going through the water like Houdini, disappearing. Beautiful entry.
7, 6.5.
Sometimes in these long prelims, when we, you know, if we'd finished competing and we were watching our teammates compete, to make it a bit more interesting and fun in the stands, we would kind of do like a sweepstake, where we would choose different divers and create a list. So like, you know, you might have, for example, Maya Jane, and I'd choose her twist dive. And then someone else's, like Eligo, who's next, I would choose her for my back dive. And then obviously you would put down the dive score of each dive and work out the total at the end, and it was always a fun way just to pass the time, but also stay wired into the competition. And it also makes you get behind other nations as well, not just your own, and that is quite common in diving. You see a beautiful dive from Ella, back half. Great positioning out of the board.
7, 6.5, 7.5, 7, 6.5, 7, 7.5. Alexandra Poos, reverse dive pike.
Alexandra with a reverse dive pike. Wow. She has got one of the best entries I've seen. Beautiful line throughout, especially through the water.
7.5, 7, 6.5, 7,
39 points, ending on 185.55, a solid score after 5 rounds of dives.
Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position.
Katarina. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Solid dive, slightly moving forward away from the board there. But a great finish.
6.5, 7, 6.5.
194.75. So close to that 200 point mark. It's a really solid score.
1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position.
Chen from China. It's a really nice dive. The technique on the hurdle is pretty much textbook. It's like they've in China they just put copy and paste into their computer with their technique on the hurdle. Really good.
8, 7.5.
We have Jamila. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. It's a solid dive for Jamila. You know, I've been retired for 3 years and I kind of haven't really been involved with diving since I retired just before the Paris Olympics. But getting to know the British team here, Jamila really impressed me at such a young age. She has a lot of confidence. She's got a lovely personality. Eager to learn and grow in diving. Amanda Wang, final diver of round 5, back half. Solid dive for Amanda. Let's have a look at the standings. Remember, the top 12 will make it through to the final. Still got three rounds of dives left.
5.5, 4.5, 5.5, 5, 6, 6.
And remember, the required dives will carry over through to the final.
So once again, current standings are on the scoreboard for you now.
In the 12th position, we have Margarita Kuvshinova with 180. In the 13th position we have Elena from Ukraine, 180 as well, only 0.25 away. And then Franziska from Hungary is also very closely following behind. Now we're going into the optional rounds of dives. We definitely should see some gaps forming. Here we have our first diver. Inward 2.5 somersaults tucks, where we'll see more rotations, more somersaults, more twists from the young girls. As I said, as the dives get harder as well, more mistakes might be made.
4.5, minute line, back 2.5 somersaults with top.
Mila Klein. Back 2.5 somersaults tuck. I used to love competing this dive when I was younger. Very solid from Mila. Such a strong takeoff. Excellent wrap into her tuck shape, creating that speed through the air.
6, 5.5, 6, 6, 6 at 5.5, 6. Alina Polonets, inward 1, correction, inward 2.5 somersaults with top.
We have Alina with inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Remember, she was in the 13th position, very closely following behind in the 12th position. Let's see how she does in the optional rounds. It's a beautiful dive. Confident kick, ever so slightly early. Really nice tuck shape through the air.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 5.5, 5.5. Ludmila Lacerda, inward 2.5 somersaults with top.
We have Ludmila. Inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Just going to take a very short break to go to the bathroom. Apologies for the silent airtime. I'm a little bit out of breath from running to the toilet and back. Not as fit as I used to be. Yeah, Francisca. With a forward 2.5 somersaults. Pike. Solid dive from Francisca. A little bit back from the end of the board, but a lovely pike shape in the air. Clean finish.
5.5, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5. Leila Ahmed, inward 2.5 somersaults with top.
You have Leila Ahmed from Egypt, inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oof, losing a little bit of a balance there. Really enjoyed her rotation speed. Very quick through the air.
5, 4.5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4.5. Mariana Vasquez Gonzalez, forward 2.5 somersaults top.
Mariana. Beautiful pike shape again. That's one of the main elements in diving is the flexibility, the shapes. The shapes are so important, you know, whether it's a tuck shape, pike shape.
4.5, 5, 4.5, 4.5,
Got to show really good flexibility and requires a lot of strength to, you know, stay as tight as possible throughout the somersaults. Angel, same dive forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Probably see a few of these this round. Really well executed dive. 2.4 degree of difficulty, so it's a little bit lower down on the degree of difficulty, but executed really well. We did see, and we will see Mia from Mexico doing a forward 3.5 pike, and her sister as well. Probably will see maybe. Not sure if that's the only divers doing that dive, I believe. See Manuela there, not quite getting the rotation she wanted. Landing really far over on the left hand side of the board, but a beautiful pike shape. And her somersaults. Yeah, Mia and Leah Cueva-Lobato, the only divers in this event using a forward 3.5 somersaults pike, which is really quite impressive to be able to perform, train, compete that dive at such a young age. Quite the can't say that word. Anomaly. Oh wow, I mean, inward 2.5 pike as well at this age level is really impressive. A 3.0 degree of difficulty. Executed very well. See, 60 points because it's, you know, the scores are times by the degree of difficulty. Sarah, just yet. Back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Bit of a miss for Sarah. See, she's leaning back on the takeoff, and when you do that, it's so much harder to control the dive. The dive spins a lot quicker than you're used to. With Luciana. Good dive from Luciana. A little bit back from the end of the board. Beautiful pike shape in the air. Slightly washing over a vertical, catching her ankles on the water. Yeah, Emma from USA. An inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Good takeoff. Just almost running out of room there on the entry. I'd see more throw on the takeoff. The height and the balance of the takeoff was really nice. Just like, like I said, I'd like to see a bit more of rotation created from that arm swing on the takeoff. Amanda Brightsmith representing Peru. Really beautiful dive from Amanda. Definitely one of her strongest dives so far. Beautiful pike shape, precise through the water. See, she's smiling, she likes it. Good job. 6.5 from the judges. Lucia. Forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Solid dive from Lucia. Planting both feet nicely on the end of the board.
5.5, 5.5.
Namaro with an inward 2.5 somersaults pike. Difficult dive. Let's have a go at judging this one. I'll give it a go, and everyone at home, you should give it a go too. Let's see if we're anywhere near the judges. It's a little bit harder sometimes to judge the harder dives. There's more to watch. Great dive from Namaro. I'm going to give that a 5.5. It's a really solid effort. It's a difficult dive to do. Lutza from Hungary, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Lutz there's obviously a very springy diver.
5.5,
Nice height from the board. 5.5 from the judges.
Forward 2.5 somersaults pike.
We have Cassandra. Great dive from Cassandra. Good aerial work.
6, 5.5, 6,
43.20.
Francesca and
Francesca representing Italy, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Good dive from Francesca. Especially in the women's event, you know, the Italians are really strong in diving. With Chiara Pellicani having incredible success recently. Chiara getting 4th place in both of her events in Paris. I remember watching from home. I felt like she really deserved a medal. but she won 5 gold medals at this year's Senior European Championships. No one has ever achieved that in the history of diving. But also, that's a really nice dive from Margarita, very precise. As I said, no one's ever achieved that in diving, in the history of diving, but also there was not that many events back in the day. You know, there was no team event, there was no mixed synchro. So these are things you know, it's good to know, but at the same time it doesn't take anything away from Chiara. Emily Collins with the back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist. Solid dive, beautiful finish. Houdini on the entry, disappearing through the water. Her favourite dive to compete is twisting, and there we just see her do her twisting. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm convinced she had some kind of gymnastic background, potentially. A lot of divers that like twisting probably often come from gymnastic backgrounds. Maya Jane. Solid forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Maya enjoys going shopping, hiking and going to the beach in her spare time. And English and maths are her favourite subjects at school. There's a lot of divers that like maths, I'm seeing. It kind of makes sense, you know, diving is very calculated. You know, angles and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't very bright as a kid. Still not very bright as an adult. I do my best. Ella go. In with 2.5 somersaults pike. Really hard dive, making that look very nice and easy. The 14-year-old. Alexandra, representing Belarus. In with 2.5 somersaults tuck. Alexandra has just incredible technique. She's very young. I'm really excited to see her future career. You know, with a little bit more age, more experience, more strength. The world would be her oyster. Katarina Shmileva. Beautiful takeoff. So much power generated from the springboard there. Really springy. Lovely form throughout the air. Just a slight miss on the entry.
6, 6, 7, 6.5, 6, 6, 6. Chen Xia Li.
Next up we have the Chinese diver Chen with an in with 2.5 somersaults pike. One of the harder dives we're seeing in this competition. Let's all practice our judging skills and try and mark this one out of 10. Oh, it's really good. Beautiful pike shape. Great takeoff. I'm going to give that a 6.5. Oh, thank God. Me and Judge 1 are just clearly aligned. I can't remember if it's panel A or panel B, but if it is panel A, that'll be Judge 1 is Georgi Chobanov. A bit of a legend in the sport. He's a Bulgarian coach. I've known him since my very first international competition. My parents were very fond of him. Jamila Ekan. Amazing takeoff. Beautiful entry throughout the water. Solid dive for Jamila. Onto the final diver of Round 6, we have Amanda Wang from Hong Kong. One of the more easier dives we're seeing in the optional round, an inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Whoa, really nice finish on the water. As it's an easier dive, she really needed to perform that well, try and get as big a scores as she can. It's a good effort.
6, 5, 5.5, 5, 6, 6, 5.5. Thank you, panel A judges, panel B judges.
It was panel A, so it was Georgie.
We are at the end of the
Chopping
6th
up.
round, and once again the current standings on the scoreboard for you now.
Let's have a look at the scoreboard. Leah out in the lead now in front of Chen. 12th position held by Alexandra Poos with 230.10. And behind Alexandra we have Angel Wang from Hong Kong. She's 8 points behind. See the gaps now starting to form. Daria very closely behind Angela Wang. This is when it really helps having those harder dives in your list to generate bigger scores. We only have 2 more rounds left of diving in this event. Now the judges have swapped and they're all comfortable. We're ready to start this round with Vaisa from Egypt, forward 3.5 somersaults tuck. A little bit chopped down on the takeoff. You see she throws towards the water, head down. It's then really difficult to try and control the dive, especially on the come out and entry. Mila climb with a reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. We haven't seen too many reverse optional dives. Sometimes it's a harder dive to compete, especially under pressure with the hurdle and these long prelims. A solid effort from Mila with a great hurdle. Just a little bit short though, cutting off her arm swing and reach at the top. Edwin's such a great coach, really positive. So much knowledge in his brain about diving. Alina from Ukraine with the back 2.5 somersaults tuck. I feel like this has potential to be a lovely dive. Let's have a look. Oh, very close to being a lovely dive. Just slightly pulled on the entry.
5.5, 6.5, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5, and 6. Ludmila Serena, 2.5 somersaults with tuck.
Ludmila, same dive. Going to see a few of these in a row. Back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oh, it's going to hurt. That's really going to hurt. Ludmila, for some reason, just not getting into the rotation. Not spinning very quick. It's going to definitely wind you, take the breath out of your lungs. It's such a shame for Ludmila. It's the first big mistake we've seen in this competition. Quite surprised we've got this far. We've not seen any more than that, if I'm being honest. Daria Polyakova, back 2.5 somersaults tuck. See Daria there, on the back entries, you do something called a knee save on the entry. Not everyone can do it. Took me quite a while to learn how to do it. She kind of just did it a little bit too early. It's where when you go through the water and your knees kind of reach the edge of the water. You then bend your legs in to kind of like suck down the water, keep the splash down. Sometimes when you perform it a little bit too early, it kind of produces more of a splash. We have Mia with a forward 3.5 somersaults pike. This is a really difficult dive, one of the hardest dives we're seeing in this competition by a long shot. As I said, it's a difficult dive, especially in these long prelims. Mia struggling to make the 3.5 rotations, landing very short of vertical. Definitely a risk in competing harder dives. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Angelia Blau with an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. My coach would always tell me not to, well, Jane Figueiredo, my final coach in my career, who coached me to win an Olympic gold medal, she always told me not to wear jazzy trunks. You see a bird flying past the camera there. Yeah, and as you see, Angela, it's a very jazzy costume. The reason why my coach would think to wear, very plain colours, black or blue, because it's an aesthetic sport. It's judged by someone. And, probably isn't any science or anything behind it or fact, but you kind of want to blend in. You don't want something shouting out at the judges, especially if, you make a little mistake or something. You want to look as clean as possible. But it's not essential. I'm just chatting rubbish. Patricia with a forward 2.5 somersaults pike. 36 points, bit of a miss. Rijeka inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Brilliant dive from Francesca. Really confident on the come out. Beautiful leg line throughout. Layla, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Really nice entry. You can hear her hands connect with the water. Sometimes the rip entry sounds like a gunshot. Mariana in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. Mariana there, going quite over the vertical on the entry. Chopped down on the takeoff. It's difficult to slow that rotation speed. Angel Wang in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. She was in the 13th position after last round. She's going to need a good dive to try and help her campaign into the final. Really like the takeoff technique, keeping her hips in line with her ankles. Just a little bit over. 4.5, 5. 5 from the judges, 39.15. Manuela. Same dive as Angel. In with 2.5 somersaults tuck. Very confident kick out for Manuela. Just a little bit early. Not quite getting the correct rotation speed out of the board and direction. 5s from the judges. Love hearts to her family and friends watching at home in Brazil. Leah Cueva-Lobato again with one of the hardest dives in this competition. Her sister didn't quite execute this dive very well. Let's see if Leah can do a better job. Hey, definitely a better job than her sister. Should have definitely been a little bit nervous with landing all 10 toes over the end of the board, but managed to get that round quite nicely onto her head. Sarah Tessier, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oh. Beautiful technique in the air, great form. Just missing her spot, going slightly over a vertical on the entry. Luciana, representing Colombia, in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oh, beautiful come out, nice and confident to the water. Getting her hands grabbed and extending her elbows for that rip entry. Emma, for back 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's a solid dive. Really like the takeoff. That is not Emma. Six and a half maybe. Let's see what the judges think.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 5.5.
It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. Amanda Brightsmith in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. What I found really interesting with doing this job, being a commentator, is like, obviously I know diving. I had a 20-year career competing at this level, competing at all levels, and getting a gold medal at the Olympics. I obviously have so much knowledge on diving, and I know what I'm seeing. But what I found quite difficult and challenging, and it's definitely been quite an eye-opening experience, is being able to translate that to words. I guess throughout the years I've just been able to understand what I needed to do in my own little language in my brain, and sometimes being able to vocalize what I see has been a challenge. But your feedback is always nice to hear, even if it's bad feedback. Well, there is no such thing as bad feedback. Namaro Gracia, forward 3.5 somersaults tuck. quite connecting into her tuck shape. Not enough speed. Dropping quite quickly. Freeze.
3, 2.5, 2, 3, 2.5, 2, and 2.5. Who's up in here there? 2.5
Lutza from Hungary. Back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oh, it's a really beautiful dive from Lutza, showing great control. Landing perfectly upright. Clearly is so aware in her rotations. We have Cassandra. Back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist. Good dive from Cassandra. Slightly whippy off the takeoff. 39.60 for her 7th round dive. Francesca Aloni from Italy, forward 1.5 somersaults, 2 twists. Really nice work on the twist. 5.5 from the judges. Margarita Kvshinova, back 2.5 somersaults, tuck. Oof. That was almost really, really nice. Slightly pulled on the entry. Lovely direction from the board. 5.5 and 6s from the judges. 47.60. Emily Collins with her back 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's the first time all these divers have ever competed at a Junior World Championships. It's all new. It's all a new experience. Obviously some of the girls, including Emily, have competed already in this championship. Wow, really nice dive from Emily. Such a springy diver. Lovely form, great technique. See there, doing their knee save, a little bit too early maybe. That's why there was a little splash. 6s. High 5 from Vaninka. Maya Jane. In with 2.5 somersaults tuck. Better dive from Maya. She's not having the greatest competition. Down in the 25th spot after last round. She might climb up the leaderboard a little bit with that. Ella go with a reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. This is a dive I really like to watch. It's got potential to just look really classic. She made that look effortless, really. Just floating throughout the air. Just kicking a little bit too high. Alexandra Puz. She was in 12th position in the last round. Back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Just trying to end on 2 really good dives here to place herself in the final. Oh, it's a very good dive. Great takeoff. Great line into the water. 6.5, maybe 6.
6.5, 6.5,
54.60. After 7 rounds of dives there for Alessandra. Katarina in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's a good takeoff. Just producing a bit of a splash on the entry. 5.5 sixes from the judges. Chen with about 2.5 somersaults pike. One of the only divers competing this dive in this competition. Let's give it a, let's all try our judging skills. I'd give that a 5. Leaning quite far back, coming out too late and washing it over. Let's have a look what the judges think. Oh, I would have been quite nice there. 4.5 from most of the judges and 5s from the last 2. Jamila with an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. Such a strong takeoff for Jamila. Using her leg muscles. And a really confident come out. Good clean finish. 47.25. 287.10 after 7 rounds. She only has 1 more dive to go. But before that we have Amanda Wang, last diver of this round, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Bit of a hesitation on the takeoff. You'll watch it. There was a pause. Look, there. The knees almost gave in, almost doing a knee buckle, but not quite. That's the end of round 7. Only 1 more round to go. This is an important round. Remember, the top 12 make it through to the final. We have Leah Cueva-Lobato in the lead with Chen from China behind. Ella Goa 3rd, Mia 4th, Emma Go 5th. Emily Collins 6th, Jamila in 7th, Katarina 8th, Alexandra 9th, Margarita 10th, Alina 11th, and Myla Klein in the 12th position. That's the hot seat. Daria behind her in the 13th position. Daria is 8 points away from Mila. The lower part of the top 12 really can't afford any mistakes. You don't want to open up the door for your competitors. But that's also why it's important to just give your best all the way throughout. It's never over until it's over. And the final round of the girls B 3-meter springboard prelim. Diver number 1, Aisa from Egypt, back 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's a good effort from Aisa. I'd like to see her head. Yeah, that tuck shape's way too open. She's holding on to her kneecaps, holding on for dear life. I'm surprised she didn't slip out of that. A lot of G-force created in diving. Mila Klein. She was in that 12th spot, the hot seat. She needs a good one. It's a good one. She's done her job now. 8 rounds of dives. Great pike out. Now a long wait until the end of the round to see if she's made it through. I really do hope she has. Elina, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Another diver in the top 12. She can't afford any mistakes. She was only in 11th. Oh wow, Elina there showing an incredible dive there. Just what she needed to definitely secure her spot in the final. 334.20. Ludmila, after a really difficult last round dive, she's here to redeem herself. Forward, 3.5 somersaults tuck. And then we see a restart. You know, after performing a really bad dive, it can really throw off your concentration and your confidence. Confidence is key in diving, especially with the hurdle step. Come on, Ludmila. There you go. That is much more like it. Really proud of Ludmila there. Showing great determination. It's a good hurdle. When a diver restarts, they get a 2-point deduction. Daria with a reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Daria was in the 13th position. She needs a good one, and that is not good enough. I don't think we'll be seeing her in the final later on with that last dive. That is quite a big miss. She knows it. Better luck next time, Daria. We have Mia Cueva Lobato forward 2.5 somersaults with 1 twist. Difficult dive for Group B. Wow, beautiful entry for Mia. See, she lands quite far off the back end of the board and on the left side. Definitely not the takeoff you want. But she dealt with it really well, ending on 344.35. Definitely see her through to the final. Angelia with a reverse 1.5 somersault tuck. I got a bit scared there. I thought she was doing 2.5 and I was like, oh my god, that's definitely not going to make it. But that was my mistake. Not quite the dive Angelia wanted to finish on. So much experience gained regardless. Patricia from Poland in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. See a bird flying through the camera line there. It's a beautiful, really well executed in with 2.5 tuck. Great technique. A little bit chopped down on the takeoff. That's kind of why she rolled it over a vertical on the entry. 274.45. We have Francisca, who reversed 2.5 somersaults tuck. That's a beautiful dive from Francisca. Awesome entry. She was in the 15th spot in the last round. She's happy with that, as she should be. I don't think it's going to be enough for the final from Francisca, but she's going to be close. So it's a long wait to see if she's made it or not. Layla from Egypt, back 2.5 results tuck. We see Layla coming out of a dive far too early, landing pretty much vertically on her back. Horizontally, sorry. God, should know that. The difference between horizontal and vertical. The whole point in diving is to land vertical. You only want to be horizontal when you're sleeping. Mariana back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Solid end to Mariana's competition. I've had many competitions where I knew I just, performed really bad, and I knew I wasn't through to the final, but, it's always important to try and show what you're capable of, regardless of result, and try end on a good dive. Definitely harder said than done. Angela Wang, back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Quite getting her arms and shoulders back on the entry. See the takeoff there as well. $298.40 for Angela Wang. Manuela Brum, back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Good effort from Manuela. I like the speed and the rotation. Slightly leaning back away from the board. Tight tuck shape. 290.50 for Manuela. Leah Cueva Lobato. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Our previous round leader. Can she keep that lead going into the final? Wow, awesome dive from Leah. Really well executed. Definitely propel her up. Past her sister. $374 points. That's a solid score for this event. And it's only a prelim. Sarah Tessier in with 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's a clean dive. It's a good dive. A little bit slow in the takeoff. That's why it kind of slightly landed short of vertical on the entry. 305 points for Sarah today. Luciana with her back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist. Solid dive for Luciana. A little bit head back on that takeoff. Let's see her chin staying down, and solid dive though. 299.65 for the Colombian. Getting a high five there from Amanda Brightsmith. We have Emma Go, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. She was in rank 5. Just needs a good dive. It's a bit of a miss. Scoring 28 points, 318. Pops her into 6th currently. I think that might have cost her the final there. But we'll see when the results are in at the end of this round. Amanda back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Good effort there from Amanda, finishing on one of her harder dives. So much experience gained. Ending on 264. She looks so smiley and happy. It's refreshing to see. Normally divers don't really show much emotion, really. Lucia. 2.5 somersaults tuck. Oh, very nice. A little bit sneaky into the water there. Really good effort. Lovely tuck shape. In these long competitions, I always think that, you know, if you're towards the start of the competition, you've got a little bit of a advantage over some of the divers that are finishing last, because, you know, at the end of the competition, you know, you might have 20 more minutes extra rest. You know, some of the divers might be already changed and having their lunch. Namaro back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Good powerful jump out of the board. Quite the dive she wanted to finish on though. 271.80. Lutza, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Ooh, quite see 10 toes over the end of the board. Making that dive really difficult. Shooting out into the middle of the pool. And great dives we've seen from Lutza throughout the competition. Cassandra Gleischer from Austria, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Competed in my first Junior European Championships in Austria, Graz, in 2012. Some of these divers weren't... Oh no, they were born. They were just born. That's crazy. It's a good effort from Cassandra. It's a difficult dive. Landing a bit short vertical, ending on 289.65 for the Austrian. Francesca. Reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Francesca there, a little bit, well, quite a lot skipped off the end of the board. Which cancels out the height, all that work you've done in the hurdle is cancelled out. Landing short. Margarita. Kushinova. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. Tuck. She was in rank 10. She can't afford any mistakes here. No mistakes from her. Solid dive. See the difference in the height Margarita generates out of the board. Emily Collins with an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. She was in previous rank 6th. No mistakes. The pressure is on. Not too much pressure there. It's a comfortable spot to be in. Wow, beautiful dive under pressure from Emily. Definitely see her through to the final later on today. Great precision in the dive. Yeah, Maya for back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Great powerful takeoff. Just coming out of the dive a little bit too early. 4 and 5s from the judges. Ella with a forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Difficult dive. She was in rank 3. Going into this round. It's a little bit short, but because it's a harder dive, I think we'll definitely see her progress through to the final. Well done. 4.5. Alexandra Poos, reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. She was in rank 9. Wow, such a beautiful diver. Making that look textbook on the come out and entry. Houdini through the water. Definitely see her progress to the final. Congratulations to the young Belarusian. Ekaterina, back 2.5 somersaults tuck. Again, another diver. That was in the top 12. She was rank 8. Can't afford big mistakes here. I don't think that mistake's big enough to worry. It's a great tuck shape throughout the air. 331.40. Chen from China, forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Let's all judge this one. That's a very good dive. I'm going to give that 7.5. Oh, I'm too nice. I'm clearly too nice of a judge. That's why I'm not a judge. Jamila. Same dive, forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist. Can't afford any mistakes. She was in rank 7. Come on, Jamila. It's a little bit short. It's a harder dive.
5, 4.5.
Yeah, we'll see her through to the final. Happy days. Congratulations, Jamila. Obviously a little bit biased, being British and all. Amanda Wang, our final diver of this competition. Back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. Solid finish for Amanda. Congratulations to the Hong Kong diver. Great experience gained at these championships. Right, let's have a look at the scoreboard. The results after 8 rounds of dives for the girls B 3-meter springboard prelim. The top 12 will progress to the final. Remember, the required round scores will carry over through to the final. We'll see you later. We've got the boys A platform prelim. I'm excited for that one. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.